It's now 7:04, and with that, we would do a recall to order of a regular meeting. Jackie, can we please start with a roll call?
Amanda Harness. Here. Ed Davis.
Here.
Steve Byers.
Here.
Ariel Owens. Christopher Boyes. Daisy Ramirez. Dante Bynum.
Here.
Sorry, I'm reading. Jenna Zimmerman.
Here.
Go fast.
All right, Jackie. It's how we've been here a while. All right, next time, public participation and recognition. Item 8, public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board shall complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. And we do have a couple comments. We have 4 comments. The first person that we have here is Mr. Andrew Stoker, subject Founders Bus Incident.
I should not be here. This should have been settled and we should have answers. On August 18th, Founders Elementary School lost my son Stevie. He had identifiable documents in his backpack, but the school labeled him as a different child. We do not know how he spent his day. We do not know what teacher he had. A strange student in their class all day. We do not know why we were not notified, why he was marked absent. We do not know why the principal chose to state he was not there all day. We do not know why the principal offered no help in locating him. We do not know why the principal did not bother to ask what he looked like or what he was wearing. We do not know why the principal was so staunchly stood their ground. He wasn't here, not our problem. We were left all alone trying to find our son. The police helped, the police cared. Dramatic things must change to ensure this does not happen to another family again. We are grateful for Jefferson Elementary for taking Stevie in. We are fearful that next school year he'll be forced to go back to Founders. We have received nothing stating that we can continue at Jefferson where our son and us feel safe. The district was doing an investigation. We were told that it would be finished in 30 business days. My wife called on September 13th and was told it would be finished by October 1st. October 1st, we received an email notification of an extension. Certified mail and regular mail of the extension. We waited patiently. October 8th came, it extended till October 8th, and October 8th came and went. My wife sent an email around 4:20 asking for an update, no response. On the 9th, she sent another email asking for an update. She was casually told it would be the 15th now. So how do you go from certified mail to a casual notice when prompted? We are reasonable people. We understand when people get sick and things are delayed, but if you can't bother to communicate that to us, then why should we trust you? My wife filed a notice of an IEP violation with the state. Nobody responded to that either. Nobody wants to tell us what's happening. There's been no accountability. It's as if you want us to go away. And it's as if you're telling yourself this is a one-time mistake that you made right by sending us to the safe school at Jefferson. You need to fix something. This incident caused my family trauma and harm. We cannot and will not put it behind us, likely ever. But it would bring us some peace in knowing what happened, knowing what steps have been taken to ensure that it does not happen again. Today is October 15th, and again, received no information about the investigation. Accountability matters, and people in this room know what happened to my son, and I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Stoker. Next person, Mr. Jose Jaques, subject Founders Bus Incident.
Okay, I am playing the audio from the 911 call from that incident.
August 19, 2024, 16 hours, 0 minutes, 59 seconds.
911, where is your emergency?
My child is missing. I put him on a school bus this morning, and then I called the school, and they said he didn't show up, and they haven't seen him all day. He's a 6-year-old autistic child.
What was he wearing?
He had on a blue shirt that said "Ready to Crush Kindergarten." He had lime green shorts, and he had on a turtle shell backpack.
And you said you put him on the bus?
I put him on the bus. Yes, he's got an IEP, and the bus came and picked him up. At 8:05, I have an air tag in his backpack. I could see it moving around. I thought he was on his way home. At the school, I called the school, and they told me that he hadn't been there all day. I don't know.
Okay, it's okay, ma'am. We're gonna get you help, Jess.
598 Crucian Street.
And what's your name?
Shannon Stoker.
And what school does he go to?
Founders Elementary. Go call your dad on your tablet. Tell him to come home.
Okay, where's the air tag now?
Hold on a sec. I've been watching it. The air tag is now showing it, by Lincoln, on the corner of, Lincoln Highway and Annie Britton.
Is it pretty accurate?
It says 5 minutes ago.
Is he verbal or no?
You can't have a conversation, then you can say some words.
It's okay, we're gonna get you help, okay? Ma'am, we're gonna get you help. Okay, I have officers en route to you, okay? Does he have, like, anything else on him electronic, like a phone or anything?
No, just the air tag.
Alright, I have officers en route to you, okay?
Okay.
Did they call you this morning to tell you he wasn't in
No,
school?
I hadn't heard from anybody, and I forgot.
Thank you,
That's
Ms.
my 3
Sherman.
minutes.
Yes, thank you. The next person that we have is John Trotter. Trotter, I apologize for that, Trotter. John Trotter, Mr. John Trotter, subject, Founders Bus Incident.
I'm just going to continue the tape.
Air tag, you said it was at Founders. I mean, I checked on him like 10 times, and air tag was just at Founders. And then I'm told about the bus, and then there was an issue with the bus, and then the principal called me and said he hadn't been there all day.
Okay, what's his name?
His name is Steven, he goes by Stevie.
Last name, same as you?
Yeah.
And do you have a
the air tag
picture?
is- Yes, I have a lot of pictures. The air tag
Okay,
is showing
can you
like
send
the
us a-
burger.
Can you send us a picture?
Yeah, how do I send it to you?
Okay, I'll give you a phone number, okay?
Okay.
815-739-0651. Is he white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
White.
What's his haircut look like?
Brown. He's got like a little mohawk. I took the picture of him this morning. This is what he has on.
Okay, you can send that over, okay?
I sent it.
All right, we have officers, and then we're also going to have the school resource officer check in, okay?
Can you send someone to the air tag to try to stop whatever
Yeah.
bus this is on?
Yep.
It's right by Burger King. Like I said, it was there 4 minutes ago.
So it's still moving?
Well, it's an air tag, so it's not like constantly, it's gotta hit off like an update every few minutes. But it said it was at Founders until about 3:45. And they're telling me he wasn't there all day, so I don't know if he
Okay.
if he's with the air tag.
Okay, it's okay, we'll get you help, okay? Who did you talk to at Founders?
Someone called me. I thought that maybe he was on the bus that comes to the neighborhood, so I walked out at the bus stop, and then I didn't hear a name, and that's when I got so confused, so I'm trying to figure out what bus he's on, and then she said he didn't come to school all day.
So did they call you this morning saying that he wasn't in attendance, or tonight?
No, his bus was supposed to come pick him up, and it was late, and I called, and they said it would be there in 5 minutes, and at 8:10, a bus pulled up, and I put him on the bus.
Okay.
And then
And do you know
he
what
went
number
off.
that was?
I did not pay attention to the bus number. There
That's
was
okay.
one other little kid on it who was blonde. The bus driver was a white male.
And does he ride the shorter buses or the longer ones?
He rides the short bus, but there was so much confusion with his bus after school, and I don't know. Oh my God.
So the child this morning on the bus was another child his age?
Yes.
So I just want to make this clear. I just want to make sure I have the right information. The founders did not call you today all day long to say he wasn't in attendance until you talked to them this afternoon, correct?
Yes. And they
Okay.
only called me because I called the bus system.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Strutter. The next person is Ms. Jennifer Trotter. And the subject is bus incident.
How did this happen?
Okay, where's your air tag now?
My air tag is still showing by Burger King.
And it hasn't moved?
No.
Okay. And that's a live update?
It said 3 minutes ago. At 913 West Lincoln Highway.
Okay, I have officers going through your neighborhood right now, so they might pass you.
Okay. Has anyone checked the bus? Is he on the bus?
Yep, they're going to that area as well, ma'am. It's okay, we're gonna get you help, okay?
I just want my kid. I just want my baby.
I understand, we'll get him. I have officers going to that area right now, okay?
Oh, I'm gonna be sick. I don't.
All right, they're checking the area, okay?
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna have an officer come meet with you, okay?
Okay, see, did they
All right.
find him?
I don't believe they have found him yet, but we have all the officers all over town looking for him, okay?
All right, there's an officer here.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go so you can talk to him.
All right.
All right, what's your ad?
Thank you. And I just want to reiterate, due to the normal, how we run the meetings, we normally don't interact or have, a conversation regarding the topics that are normally up for public comment, but we do appreciate you coming today and speaking up about the situation, and we are, taking things in, we did speak about the situation today, and there are updates, so we wanna make sure that everyone in the public knows that normally we don't have interaction, so that's why we normally don't have communication, or we don't speak back when people speak. But we appreciate the information that was shared today. We do want you all to know as well that we do care about the matter, and we do believe that this is an important matter that we take very seriously.
Step outside. She'll talk to you if you don't.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today. Alright, the next thing that we have here is board correspondence. Board correspondence, do we have any board correspondence from anybody? Right, student board correspondence.
Okay, so, in the mini board, we had a meeting last Friday at the park. It went really good, cause we didn't have school. That was fun. But there, we, have a few new ideas. So for the mini board, we're gonna try to get some leadership workshops going at the high school. Just an after-school event. We're gonna try to get different topics like communication and problem solving and just seeing what we can do to help just put some of those out there. We also are talking about the SteamCon. So we met today. We're gonna try to get a logo by the end of November. We'll see how that goes. So that's exciting. And then we meet with Dr. Garcia Sanchez on Thursday, I believe, to discuss some lunchroom feedback.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Jenna? Thanks again, Jenna, for everything that you and your mini board are doing. We appreciate all the work that goes into it and all the feedback that we actively receive from you all. The next thing is consent agenda. Approve consent agenda items. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items 5B through 5H, board minutes for October 1st, 2024, personnel action items, purchase order requisitions, financial reports, payroll for September, accounts payable for October, and acceptance of gifts and donations as attached. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Hermes.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is presentations. Item A, beginning of year data. This is an item that was presented by Dr. Toscano and Mrs. Parker. And the strategic planning committee. I just saw that.
And there, other people will join as well, a couple of managers are here, and they will jump in, and, I'm sorry. Okay, my eyes,
Cheaters?
I'm 47 now, so, alright. Can you see good? Alright. So good evening, Board of Education, family, staff, community, and most importantly, our students. The most important reason why we are here. I have the pleasure of highlighting the beginning of year data sets tonight. As you all know, normally I am not the one who presents this portion, so I appreciate your grace and understanding as I step in for today. If I cannot answer any questions, I'll be sure to give you the questions at a later time. And then again, the managers will be here as well to provide some information. All right. This right here, right? Is that working? Okay. So we're gonna start, as always, we're going to look at, you all have all of this data, so feel free to take a look at it and everything. But I'm gonna stop at some important slides and highlight some things. As usual, we do want to bring to everyone's attention what our suspension data looked like for this year and versus the same time period from last year. So our suspension data continues to be an area of significant concern for us, because at the end of the day, we really can't turn a blind eye to what we know are equity gaps that this data continue to reveal. We know that we have to take the bulls by the horn, as they say in Texas, and take ownership as we continue to address it. Now, this is not an issue that is unique in DeKalb, this is nationwide, but we are attempting to find local solutions and to find ways to ensure that all of our students receive support. We are seeing that being more readily accepted at the secondary level, particularly at the high school. We have seen some very positive trend data for this same time period. And even if you look 2 years ago and 3 years ago at the high school, and we just want to acknowledge that. We will continue to look at this through multiple lenses and to commit to meaningful actions. So we're gonna look at the attendance data. Our attendance data is better. It is better. And I want to be very clear that several people in the teaching and learning department and in the diversity, equity, and inclusion department have worked very hard to clean up data sets. Making sure that we're all using the same attendance codes, making sure that we are all entering absences when students leave to go get like their braces tightened or anything like that. They were all doing it consistently, so it looks the data is better, but I want to say that it's also better because we're taking better data. So you put better in, you get better out. Slides 10 and 11 are the slides that Jessica stands here and explains what it means. I'm going to do my best. These slides highlight student growth. It just shows us our students growing. We often limit our discussions to whether or not our students are making it, but we also have to have that conversation as well as having a conversation about if they're not making it, how much are they growing and how quick can we get them to a place where they're making it. So the orange line represents individual student progresses, measuring growth as each student is competing against themselves. The black line reflects overall growth at the grade level on the MAP assessment. So this is like a collective. This is compared to other students at the same peer group and what we expected them to, what we expected their outcomes to be. While we celebrate progress, we absolutely won't overlook the significant work that's still needed, particularly in our first and third grade. And this data emphasizes that we must focus on efforts to support our student success. We are seeing more students come to kindergarten without having had any formal education. It used to be a time where that was far and few between. We are at the majority of our students coming to the kindergarten 5 years old, never having been in a formal education system. Even as we know, we are in a desert for early childcare and like early preschools. And so we have more and more students who really have not had any form of preschool. They've been at home or maybe in home daycares, but not in a formalized education setting. We also see that fourth grade shows us that that is a bigger jump than we had seen previously, and we are excited that our multidisciplinary units have been used consistently with that cohort of students, and so that we are really encouraged because we now have MDUs in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then we'll have it in 5th in January. Is that right?
You got it, man.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so we're gonna go through 13 and 17. I'm just gonna, you can flip through them on your own. This data set is presented with multiple different ways. It's pretty much the same data, but we just give it to you in different pictures, okay? Because it allows you to look at it from different perspectives. The format does vary, but the key takeaway is that our data has remained consistent and it is stable. So this set provides us with reliable foundations as we continue to analyze what we're doing right and what we need to improve upon. And we have identified patterns and trends over time. We are also looking at more data sets than we, in my time of being in this district since 2007, that we've ever looked at before. So by examining these data, we can gain a deeper understanding of our performance. Okay, all right. And then on 21, I'm gonna stop there for a second. This is 5th grade, and the reason why we wanted to talk to you about 5th grade, particularly students that took the MAP Spanish reading, is because in 5th grade, This is the level where instruction remains in a single language without a bilingual or dual language model. So as a result, there are no students in this group that comes from English-only households. With this unique context, it is impacting our data positively because students are engaging in a learning environment that's actually different from all the other grades. And we actually see more diverse language, and how more diverse language is more impactful to students who may be a native English speaker. So it's really important. I wanted to highlight this one because for over a decade, many people pounded the drums and said, hey, if you put it in here, it will work. And guess what? It's working. So we want to continue how we can use this factor to influence other areas of growth.
Can I?
Yeah, come on in. It was on the notes. AJ gonna say something.
All right, so we have one-way dual language in 5th grade. One-way dual language is a program that's being replaced by two-way dual language. In one-way dual language, all of the students are considered English learners from the same linguistic background. So they start out in kindergarten with about 90% of their day in Spanish. By 5th grade, it's half and half. The kids in kindergarten through 4th grade are a mixture of students. So half the kids in the class are learning Spanish for the first time and half are learning English for the first time. And depending on the grade level, sometimes it's into thirds. A lot of our kids are born bilingual in DeKalb County. So they're not balanced or unbalanced, speaking either more English or more Spanish, but they're from a bilingual household. So this is progress for sure, but that is why there is such discrepant data. The kids in 5th grade are definitely Spanish dominant and more proficient and dominant than the kids in two-way are yet.
Okay. And then we're going to highlight slides 31 and 32. And this is the middle school progress on map. And as you can see, it goes from fall 23 to fall 24. And we want to know that there has been a slight increase in the growth that middle school students have seen, that we've seen from this same time last year when we gave the map administration. So there's also evidence. You can see that like 6th graders, when they come in, you get into this next slide. When 6th graders come in, I mean, they take this assessment. They've only been in school for a few weeks. But then you see that we see more growth in 7th grade. And then by the time they get to 8th grade, which makes sense, they've been in middle school longer. They've had the middle school model for 2-3 years. And we see here that the longer our students stay in our middle school, the more on level that they become, which is exactly what we want. So as we conclude each slide that you will see, I have to acknowledge that it reflects, once we disaggregate the data based on ethnic, racial, we see a lot of disparities, and also, of course, all across the nation, actually across this world, the economic status also shows us that there's great disparities. And that's a stark reminder that we are falling short in supporting our most marginalized students. And we must confront this reality with urgency and seriousness because the stakes are high. We presented the county-wide, and we talked about undereducated students. It is a matter of life and death, and we are 100% taking that responsibility. We know that it's clear we must take bold, decisive action to ensure that every student has the opportunity to succeed. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you. Have a great night.
Well, we know that there's opportunity for growth, and then there's opportunity for us to continue to close that gap. But we thank everybody for all the work that is going into helping us close that gap for our students. So thank you for the presentation, and thank you for the information and all the work that everybody does to help us get us to where we need to be at.
Good job. You get a sticker. Good job. You get a sticker.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
All right, the next thing, it's old business. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the contract with Richard L. Johnson and Associates, Inc. for $65,000 plus reimbursable expenses to complete the 10-year life safety survey to submit to the Illinois Board of Education based on the requirements of section 180310. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Christopher Boyes,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. Item B, additional custodial, FTE, Ed Center Transition Building / Mental. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the additional .25 FTE for custodial hours at Beyond One Bar Transition Center. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Christopher Boyes,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is Mitchell Elementary School business. No updates? Okay, thank you. All right, next item is Beyond One Bar Transition Center. No updates on that? Okay, thank you. The next item is new business and administration. Item A, NIAA or AAA National Athletic Directors Conference. This is an information item brought to us by Mr. Peter Goff.
Good evening. I am here to request that I will be able to attend the NIAAA National Conference for Athletic Directors. This is my second year of a 3-year term. I was past president. I am the president this year, and then next year I'll be the past president. So I'm asking permission to be able to attend the national conference 15th, 16th, and coming home the 17th in Austin, Texas.
Any questions? Congratulations, by the way, on your position.
Thank you.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Item B, DHS Student Council Winter Retreat Overnight Trip. This is an information item. Let's see, brought to us by Dr. Larson and which we're Sarah Jennings is going to be presenting for Dr. Larson. I'm like, there's 4 names here.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. DHS Student Council is requesting an overnight field trip December 7th through 8th. This activity replaces a previous opportunity that the students had to attend the North Central District's Winter Convention. At that convention, they were able to do some team bonding and leadership growth opportunities, but that winter convention doesn't exist anymore. So they're kind of creating their own opportunity for students. So what they're hoping to do is go to from DHS on one of the minibuses to the Elburn train station Saturday morning, December 7th, get on the bus, spend the day in Chicago, spend the night overnight in a hotel, and then return to DeKalb via train again Sunday morning. So they're not gonna miss any school for that. All of the fees for this hotel are going to be covered by student council. They are asking students to pay, I think it's for the train ticket and the breakfast on December 7th, but if students are unable to cover that cost, student council will cover it for them. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, item C, Kids Hope Mentoring MOU. This is an information item brought to us by Mr. Kyle Curtis.
Good evening. Come before you tonight with a MOU with Kids Hope USA, which is an organization that we as a district have partnered with for a number of years to provide mentoring to students at Little John Elementary School. It's kind of a partnership that we support and have supported for years. Up until last year, though, we didn't really have anything kind of formal through an MOU to memorize that. So we're really bringing back the MOU that we had in place for last year, so Little John can continue to provide mentoring supports for some students who are identified as at risk. Kids Hope USA, I will say, is it is kind of a Christian organization that generally works through churches. However, for the school-based program, they adhere to strict separation of that church and state. So if you're familiar with the program through kind of other avenues, it is nationally accredited. There is no cost to the program, and that'll open up to any questions.
Any questions?
Nope.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item D, new course proposal, DHS Agricultural Education. This is an item brought to us or submitted by Ms. Sarah Montgomery.
Good evening. You'll see that we have a bunch of things for the agenda today. Tap it. Oh, that works. You'll see a series of courses at secondary. We've been very busy with some new course proposals. So our first one is agricultural department. So let me welcome up both Sarah Peterson and Dana Anderson. They are both our ag teachers at the high school. Sorry, I can't get it out of my mouth.
They host a wonderful FFA auction.
Yes, they do.
They do attend.
They do lots of wonderful things, so we're excited to hear about the 3 new courses that they'd like to bring forward to our students to help expand the offerings. Take it
Chris
away,
loves
ladies.
your event, by the way.
My bank account does not.
So our goal is to solidify pathways for our students by adding these 3 new courses to fill out our pathways and kind of end with a capstone level course for each of our pathway. It'll allow our students to move through in more of a vertical and focused point through their time in high school as opposed to just taking them sporadically. So this is where our current offerings look like. We haven't had any additions since 1994. So we are looking to fill them out. We currently offer 4 pathways, however, they're not filled out, and so it's very disjointed for students trying to pursue careers or collegiate offerings afterwards. So our goal is these 3 circled classes: Greenhouse Management 2, Animals in Production, and Intro to Trades. You'll see Greenhouse Management 2 is a capstone level course, and Animals in Production and Intro to Trades are to solidify the foundation for our pathways to allow us to get into more advanced topics. So our first one is Introduction to Agricultural Trades. We have consistently received student and parent feedback as well as community feedback that our students want more opportunities to explore trades and more hands-on careers at the high school. This class in particular is geared towards freshman students. It's really designed to engage and enhance the learning for especially our first semester freshmen, for exposing them to a variety of different trades and allowing them content as well as skill-based knowledge. These are our standards. Similar to other lab-based fees, this course will come with a course fee. It is $25 to cover the materials. Students will be creating things and then they'll be taking them home. So similar to our woods, metals, and art programs, there will be a course fee with this. Our next course is Animal Agriculture and Production. This class would add a 3rd animal-based class in our department. Currently, we only offer 2 semesters of animal science. It's an introductory class, so all grades are welcome to take it, but again, it'll be really good for our students that are in the 9th or 10th grade level. There's no course fee or any additional materials needed for this class. It will just be using the manipulatives and the textbooks that we already have. Students have shared feedback that in addition to wanting more hands-on courses, they really want more animals. Like I said, we only have 2 semesters, so that's not a lot over their high school course.
The 3rd course proposal we have is for Greenhouse Management 2. I have currently run this class, kind of piloted as an independent study for select students for the past 2 years. This is for students who have completed both horticulture and Greenhouse Management 1 and want to further pursue their study in the horticulture industry. So this would be our 4th class in the plant science pathway, and it would act as a capstone class for students that are interested in pursuing careers in plant science or horticulture. Our horticulture program has grown substantially over the past few years, and we have seen this growth make these kind of high-level classes more appealing to students. So we're really looking to get this as a standalone course rather than an independent study, so that students, as they're freshmen, can see, oh, this is where I could go with this pathway, and not just be roadblocked after their first 2 years. So it could be embedded with Greenhouse Management 1, that's how it's currently running, and or horticulture. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a standalone course every year, but it could be embedded with my other horticulture courses. These are the plant science and career ready practice standards. Overall, with all three of our courses, we don't need any textbooks. The Illinois Agricultural Education provides free online curriculum that would apply to all of these courses, and that's all, we can access that online. There shouldn't be any FTE needed because based on student surveys, we would be seeing a lot of the same students just across a greater variety of classes. So rather than teaching multiple sections of animal care or small engines, we might be teaching a more variety in our daily schedule. No additional fees other than the one course fee brought up. We have a lot of resources through our supplies budgets, our incentive funding grant through the state, and our FFA auction and fundraising purposes through FFA. And we don't need any additional training or fees for training because us agriculture teachers are proficient in these areas. We also have free professional development through the Illinois Association of Vocational Ag Teachers that we could utilize to help us improve our learning in these areas. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
So I guess the one question that I would have, and I don't really see this happening within our district, but I know some other districts that have started to do a lot more agriculture classes. It has, from what I have heard from people in those districts, it's kind of started to, because of the kind of credits it counts towards, take over their science departments. Where now FTEs and courses are being moved from doing biology or geology or physics, and now they're allocating those resources towards agriculture department instead. Are we seeing that shift in allocation of resources or not?
I don't, I don't foresee that happening. None of these classes would be science classes. We do have animal science, plant science, and horticulture that count as a science credit class. And those have been long-standing classes that have counted for science credit for a long time. So I don't foresee any kind of spillover from the science or any other area right now coming into our ag program.
And our budgets are different.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's right, okay.
Alright, are there any prerequisites in order for students to get into these courses, like these new courses, or as long as they're following like the pattern of that you all have laid out to the pathway, is that?
Just greenhouse management 2 would have the prerequisite of horticulture and greenhouse management 1. The other classes would be open for anyone.
Thank you so much. I know it's been a year and a half in the making, so a huge thank you.
Actually, I have a question. The $25 material fee that, for that first course that you mentioned, what if my kids don't have the funding for that? Is there a waiver? Is there a way to be able to get around that?
Yes, currently any students who participate in the free and reduced lunch program, I believe the district or a grant already covers their course fees.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for the work that was done to bring this forward to us. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Sarah's just gonna stand up.
I am.
All right, item E, new course proposal, DHS dual credit, physical science and geology. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Sarah Montgomery and her team, her STEAM team.
Thank you for helping me as I'm.
Which way, Charlie?
Tomorrow's his birthday, so you can go to his picture.
Happy early birthday.
I need the one that's in the show. There's another PDF, there's 2 PDFs. Okay, I'll stop driving. Keep that second one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate your help.
No worries.
Birthday boy. Okay, next, oh, sorry, did you have to say something before I start?
No.
No, you're
No, no,
just
I'm good, I'm
struggling,
good.
okay. Next, we have dual credit physical science and geology, I can speak, and Ms. Ackerman will speak to that. I want to put in the plug that this is in alignment with our early college program that we had talked about at the end of last year, and that we are in agreement with Kishwaukee College. So these credits will fit within those 1 and 2 year programs, and this is very exciting because it also includes a lab class. So that will really help open the doors to our students and a huge cost savings, because when we offer these classes under the DHS roof, there is significant cost savings to our students. So take it away and thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jesse Ackerman. So yeah, I'll just get into it here. There we go. Okay. So just rationale for these courses. Every year at parent-teacher conferences, I have parents asking me, is there dual credit in the science department? And I have to tell them, unfortunately, no, there isn't. We do have tons of AP offerings, which is great, but this would be the first dual credit science course offered at the high school. Other than, there's some dual credit plant science, I believe, in the ag department. Students that go to college, if they major in anything, are usually asked to do a 1-year lab science in college, and so this would be a great opportunity for anyone that's planning to go on to college to get that taken care of before they even leave high school. And then also, as Sarah was talking about, this is a great option for early college program to get that in-house opportunity to do a lab science at the high school instead of at Kish. And then I was able to get some response from a survey. I asked my fellow science teachers to put this out to their students if they were willing to fill out a 2-question survey. And all I asked was, if given the choice to take a dual credit physical science or a dual credit geology course as a junior or senior, would you be interested? And overwhelmingly, 64% of students said yes. And then I also had an option there, if you're a senior, would you have liked to do this? Although they can't anymore. These course descriptions are straight from Kish's catalog. So Physical Science Lab, which is PHS 118, is introductory laboratory course, the study of physical sciences. It works in conjunction with the lecture course, like normal college lab. And then Physical Science 119, Introduction to Physical Science, emphasizes the fundamental principles of chemistry, physics, geology, meteorology, and astronomy, and the philosophical importance of scientific discoveries. So it's a lot of sciences in one semester, but we would touch on all of them. And then in the spring semester would be ideally Physical Science 120, which is Introduction to Physical Geology. It's Introduction to Geological Principles from a Physical Perspective. Includes topics such as the formation of rocks and minerals, internal and external processes, modifying the Earth's surface and phenomena, and the evolutionary history of the Earth, including its life forms, oceans, and atmospheres. And hopefully these courses would be taken over a year span. So in the fall, you could take the lab and the physical science portion, and then in the spring you would take the Introduction to Geology. And we recently found out that through Kish, they're okay if we kind of put the lab and the lecture portion into one period at the high school, which kind of frees things up for scheduling of other things. So that was helpful. Who is this for? Be junior or senior level class. Prerequisites, just recommended DHS track of Introduction to Chemistry and Physics as a freshman, and then biology as a sophomore. Hopefully a grade of C or better. Also, they need to be proficient in algebra and or algebra 2, which is a little confusing. I was trying to fit the Kish's requirements into what we offer at the high school, so that was the best I could do. Students served by this class, so it would be, again, anyone that meets those above criteria and is looking for some college level coursework while they're still in high school. Class will replace and satisfy Kish Lab Science class for our early grad program, and so students could take that lab science at DHS for a discounted price. Required materials, textbooks are free and totally online. Students would be required to take some math placement tests and a minimum proficiency placement test at Kish. And there is a $50 transcript fee per class. So since that's 3 classes, that'd be $150 if you took both semesters of the course. Those are also able to be free and reduced if you're on the low income spectrum. And then for the high school, we would take $15 per course, $15 per semester. That's normal for our lab courses. And then overall course costs, I'm asking for some money to develop and implement these courses, take the syllabus and information from Kish, from the professors there, and then work it into the period format for the high school. I'm also asking for some money for some teacher textbooks to help me align with NGSS, and then some ongoing training if possible in the future for conference work. And that's it. Questions?
So when you talk about dual credit, since these are 3 courses and one of them is a lab, normally those labs at a college level, they tend to be 1 credit hour courses, the lectures tend to be 3.
Correct.
So in essence, are these 3 courses going to be the equivalent of 7 college credits, or what are we looking at? Is it just gonna be 3?
No, we equate it to our high school credits. So since the lab will be in the lecture portion, that will be 1 credit, well, half a credit because it's a semester. We offer weighted grades, we don't offer additional credits on top of that, so they'll get the college credit.
Are you talking about KISH
I'm
grades?
talking about the KISH
KISH
grade,
grade.
like
No,
not
they get
at
KISH
our
credit, sorry,
yeah, right.
I went deep on that, no, back up, they get the full KISH credit.
Okay, that's what I was talking
So,
about, the
I
college level
thought you meant the high
credit.
school credit.
No, I was talking about the college level
It'll
credit.
be 7 altogether
7
if you
altogether.
take a whole year.
Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, and if it just the fall, then you would get 4.
Great.
I know we've talked about this a number of times around the fees. So what did we come back to if, again, we have students that are unable to pay the fees?
KISH will waive the fees, either by the evidence of the free and reduced application that the district has, or if we know that a family is in hardship, then we just work with KISH and they will work with us to waive the fee.
And that is at a very, very highly discounted rate because
Yes, we're
normally
excited the more
it's-
that we can grow classes in our building.
Right, normally it's about a 75 to 100, depending on where you are within the district, per credit hour versus, the 7 hours for the $150. So this is awesome to
Which
see.
I think shouldn't be taken for granted.
No, definitely.
So I'm not saying that we're
Yes,
taking
huge
it for
thank you.
granted.
No, definitely not. But no, I think it's an amazing opportunity for our students. So thank you for working on that. Any questions? No? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Let's see, we are on item F, new course proposal, DHS Advanced Placement, African American Studies, Social Studies course. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Sarah Montgomery and the team.
And team.
And team. I will turn it over to Betsy Zimmerman and Mike Petrov, who have developed the work behind this new and exciting course for the high school social studies department.
Mike is going to actually do most of the presenting, but I wanted to go ahead and introduce the course. So this course is 20 years of work in the making. Ms. Parker, who's not here, she has been having conversations with community leaders and students for the last 20 years to bring this course to DeKalb in some iteration. We are fortunate that College Board has picked up African American Studies as an AP course starting this past school year. Was the last one, was the first year. This is the second year that it is running. It really fits in with our core values, and the ones that I really particularly want to talk about tonight in my introduction are promoting equity and access to higher levels of rigorous education. So in the first year of the program last year, College Board reported that 29% of the students enrolled in AP African American Studies were taking the class as their first and only AP class that year. 52% of those students were low-income students, which is double the rate of your average AP class. And additionally, at the end of the year, there were a larger number of students that reported that they planned on continuing college preparatory classwork or looking at college as a future path for them. So it really opened up doors for students that previously were not included in these classes, in AP classes and on that track. So with that, I will let Mike present.
Hello, Michael Petrov.
Did I maybe give you a little sticker for, did you
I have
give
a
yourself
rock,
one?
I have a rock
That one when
dibble.
you're done. I noticed you were doing
I'm
this.
prepared. I'm guessing if I hit right, it will go
Yep.
forward, if I hit things.
There you go.
Alright. Rationale brings voice to a historically underrepresented population in the study of American history. Prepares students to talk about current day issues, continues to be sought after by community members, students, and staff. Course description, a year-long interdisciplinary course housed in the history department examines the diversity of the African American experience and encounters with authentic and varied sources. I went to a conference over the summer and I have been handed a year's worth of lessons that are incredible. Primary source documents, scaffolding to help students interpret those documents, great stuff. Key topics extend from early African kingdoms. I teach world geography right now and we're talking about early African kingdoms, so that's where this class picks up, and it goes all the way to current events to 2024 if I have time. Promotes critical thinking, encourages civil engagement, helps deconstruct racial bias, helps challenge stereotypes and bias of all kind. This course, this is what it'll do. Heavy focus on primary source documents analysis and skill development. And the AP curriculum I got was like, that's what they do, is they primary source documents and analysis of those documents. Who is this for? Juniors and seniors who have interest in the study of African American experiences. There are no prerequisites for this class. We hope to equip everybody with this book, Freedom on My Mind. It's an AP, it's the AP suggested book for this course. There's actually a couple, but that's the one that everybody seems to like. The textbook costs are in the vicinity of $5,000. I'd like some summertime to prepare this class. I will teach this class, so we don't need a full-time educator. But in the future, you might consider getting a full-time educator to teach this class. And AP exam fees are $99. If you're gonna ask me, can those fees be waived?
I'm gonna defer to either of the Sarahs on that one, but I believe our handbook says that where we can, we do cover that cost.
There is a reduced fee for AP exams, and also the school district pays for one AP exam per student. So if I take 4 classes, the district will pay for one of those through Title IV funds.
Awesome.
Ask questions.
So I know I discussed this with Director Parker when this was first brought to the board, I think earlier this spring. And the main course framework of this course is phenomenal. I read through all of it that the AP offered. My only point, I guess, of concern is once we get to the additional section of the AP course, which is further exploration. How do we facilitate this course in a way where we're diving into very deeply divisive topics that at the highest levels of government to Thanksgiving dinner, people haven't figured out how to discuss this and weed their way through it. How do we make sure that we facilitate the course in a way where students on both sides of however they feel on these issues can truly hash that out within the classroom without feeling the district, their educator, or whoever is pushing a specific way that they should look at the issue?
That's a great question. Do you mind if I start?
Please.
Okay, so Mike and I have talked about this a lot. First, the important thing to know about that further exploration is that that is actually part of the AP exam, is that project at the end where students get to choose anything they've learned about already or anything that they would like to learn about that we haven't covered, right? And they get to run an independent study, and that portion is actually very independent and they're presenting a project on it. However, the conversations do happen in class, and they are based largely on that primary source document analysis. And Mike and I both feel strongly that the job of the educator in that role is to teach students how to analyze the document, how to make their own sense of it, and then scaffold in how to have a civil discussion about that. So students will be the ones creating the decision about what that piece means. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And much of the project is introduced in the very beginning of the project is introduced in the beginning of the class, and a lot of the work that we do throughout the class kind of empowers the students to complete the project, gives them the skills for how to analyze documents and then interpret it into their own work.
Alright,
Thank you.
so this is expected to be a year-long course then, so seniors will have access to this then? Okay.
Juniors and seniors.
Juniors and seniors. Awesome. Any questions? Well, it'd be awesome if we could make this also, right, a dual credit course. But great, this is awesome.
Thank you.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. What item are we on? Item G, fiscal year, MS NIU Summer STEAM Program. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Montgomery.
My last one for tonight. So this is our annual scope of work in partnership with NIU for our middle school summer STEAM program. The summer STEAM program, although that the ESSER funds have exhausted, it's important to continue this work to help close the gaps of summer slide and making sure that our students are engaged in rich content, that both Betsy and Amy, the two secondary managers for humanities and STEAM, work with NIU to make sure that our core standards are brought to light and make sure that they're heavily embedded in that. The feedback from our students has been positive, so we look forward to continuing our partnership with NIU. Normally we would wait until the middle of the year to start talking about summer work, but I needed to bring this forward earlier because NIU has graciously said you get first dibs on this time, but you have until Halloween, otherwise we're gonna give your time away to somebody else. So made sure that we had a lot of rich conversations at secondary and with the building leaders on what are our goals, and this fits within the scope of work that we've developed for the summer.
Any questions?
If our answer is due by Halloween, aren't we a little late to be only information right now?
No, I just needed to give them a verbal. She said I was good for my word if I said it was in the pipeline, and if there wasn't any, I said, just a little bit after, it's okay, it can go over 2 meetings. We wanted to make sure that we had a thorough conversation about it before I rushed. But thank you for thinking of that.
Any questions?
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item H, staffing request an increase 1.4 FTE for DHS, CRMS, and HMS. Ooh, a lot of acronyms.
Oh, you're good. Thank you.
Brought to us by Mr. Amir Doka.
Yeah, so with our new service, food service provider, Organic Life, their focus has been on taste, presentation, the quality, offering a variety and adding more meals, variety meals. For example, with DHS, they have a new stir-fry station, daily pasta station, pizza, nacho station. So all of these require scratch-made food or freshly cut veggies. So it has taken additional time and prep. So Mike Chemnitz and I have looked into the data, analyzed the needs, and we are asking the board for a 5-hour cook position at the DeKalb High School, a 4-hour at Clinton Rosette, and 2 hours at Huntley. So the reason it's mostly the secondaries is because they not only cook for their schools, but they satellite to elementary schools. In elementary, Cortland and Malta are the only one that have a kitchen for prepping. And I do want to give a shout out to Mike Chemnitz. He's our food service manager. He has helped greatly of getting the Organic Life into our district, and also the new offerings that they provided. And we've had a lot of positive feedback. We believe that by adding these this 1.4 position will help with the scratch cooking, but also with more improved and more offerings for our students.
Well, thank you, by the way, for that work that you do. Any questions?
Are those positions we think we'll be able to fill?
I believe we haven't had too many issues with filling the cooks. I believe they like the timing because they're either they have their mothers or they like the timing of cooking. So
The flexibility.
the flexibility, the schedule. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Consensus to bring this one.
Oh, it's for the next one.
Okay.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is item I, an intergovernmental agreement for tax increments financing TIF number 4 with the city of DeKalb. This is an information item brought to us by Mr. Amir Doka.
Yeah, so the district has worked on an intergovernmental agreement with the city of DeKalb. This is regarding the new proposed TIF 4, which is on the South 4th Street. So we are bringing this forward, and Gino Galuzzo is our district attorney. He handles our municipal matters. He's worked for many years and has worked also on the district TIF, for the downtown TIF with the city of DeKalb. So he's been representing us and has played an integral role of creating this agreement. So I would like him to bring forward and share the main points of this agreement with you.
Thank you. I'd like to direct your attention to the map that's on the screen. This slide illustrates the proposed TIF district that the city's proposing. It's in red there. It identifies Founders, this building, and Lincoln Elementary as being within the TIF district, as well as some other public buildings out there. Generally, it goes from Taylor to the north down to 88, and it travels along the railroad track there for the most part. This is mostly a commercial TIF. There is some residential in there, but it's mainly meant to be a commercial TIF. The goal by the district, one of the main goals, is 4th Street improvements out there. But also, you know, the goals in TIFs in general, which is in this slide, is to stabilize declining values, increase tax base, both in property values or increase retail opportunities, create jobs, basically eliminate blight. It's supposed to also improve with infrastructure. There's a list of items that TIF funds can be used for. Infrastructure is one of them, and obviously one of the things we want to protect against in our IGA is that they just aren't used predominantly for infrastructure. We want to see some other good things happen with those dollars to drive growth. One of the other items that's allowed is some environmentally contaminated properties. There's a property that's out there that might have some environmental issues they need to clean up. I forget what it was referenced, how they referenced it, like what it was in the past. Generally, how a TIF works, if you're not familiar with this, the properties within a TIF pay the same taxes that properties outside of a TIF pay. Okay, they pay the same taxes. The difference is that TIF dollars derived from are created by applying the tax rate against the increased values. So as property values within the TIF increase, those tax dollars that are derived from those increased values get put into a staff, which is a segregated TIF allocation fund, that the city can use at their discretion to apply towards certain items or costs towards the objective of the plan. And those are set by statute. They can't take the money and use it just for their general, general fund, their administrative funds, things like that. So they're controlled. The school district will always receive taxes generated by our levy against the base CAV. That doesn't change. The use of tax increment, again, is restricted as to what they can do with it. From the school district standpoint, the potential downside is as there's new construction within the TIF, those dollars aren't available to the district as new dollars when you apply your levy. But the argument is without the TIF, they wouldn't have come anyway. That's why the TIF's needed as an incentive to get people to invest in these areas because they're usually blighted and don't have economic growth on their own. Our intergovernmental agreement that we negotiated tends to offset that. And again, this is based predominantly off the footprint we created back in 2020 when we entered into the intergovernmental agreement for TIF 3 with the city of DeKalb. Looking at the screen, what we're asking them to do is declare surplus in the TIF for approximately 7 years beginning in 2026. We're asking for 30% of all the TIF created to be identified as surplus. And what they do with that surplus is then by law, it gets distributed to all the taxing bodies in proportion to their amount of the total tax bill. So the school district typically is about, I think, 60% roughly of the total tax bill. So of that 30%, we get our proportionate share of those dollars. We're asking that after that 7-year period, beginning in 2033, that they distribute 50% of the surplus. The idea is to allow them to begin to generate some income early on, so they have those dollars available for their road project or other projects they want to accomplish within that TIF. The city agreed not to use any of these funds to reimburse itself for administrative expenses. That's because the TIF allows them to reimburse themselves for some administrative costs of their staff for creation of the TIF. They've agreed not to do that. They agreed to that in 2020 based on kind of some historical uses of where they abused that under prior administration. So they've agreed in the IGA not to use any of that for administrative purposes. and they've agreed to continue the transparency reports we put into place in 2020, which basically makes it easier for JRB members, Joint Review Board members, which includes the other taxing district, or I should say, most of the other taxing districts, to see what's going on to the TIF. You know, which dollars have been given to whom, for what purpose, and how much has been committed, because you can commit over several years, and how much is kind of left available. So it gives us some better transparency. We also have some added controls through the intergovernmental agreement that we wouldn't normally have. For example, any agreement they'll bring before city council, they'll give us a 14-day notice, so we can at least look at it. We can't object to it, we can't prevent it, but it allows us to use our, political pressure if we don't like something, or to at least take a look at it, to voice our concerns to any of those elected officials. That applies to anything over $25,000, because they do have, it's called Architectural Improvement Program for $25,000 or less per home. For city infrastructure, anything other than for 4th Street itself, we're asking for approval by the JRB board, by the board vote itself of the Joint Review Board. If it's 4th Street, we didn't feel that was necessary, because I think we all kind of acknowledge 4th Street needs improvements and help out there for safety for our students and families that utilize it. I wanted to point out in the intergovernmental agreement, I did identify the TIF Act does require that school districts are paid a certain dollar amount for increased costs for new students and any assisted housing paid by the TIF. So if the TIF on a vacant piece of property wants to build a new apartment complex and that adds a certain number of new students, then there's a formula in the statute that allows the school district to get some dollars back out of that. So I'm just pointing out what's already in the statute there. So in considering this, kind of going forward, what I like about the agreement and what we tried to do in the past is there's a cash flow from this, from the surplus. There's an annual cash flow for the district. That cash flow, we think on conservative estimates over the first 10 years, will be about $1 million over the life of the TIF, about 5.7 million. These are estimates. I don't have a crystal ball. If they have a great new project come in, it'll be more than this, but these are pretty conservative based on what we've seen just in normal EAV growth. It'll improve South 4th Street. That's one of our main goals. And TIF surplus, once distributed, is not counted as local resources, so it doesn't negatively impact us on the evidence-based funding that the state puts out there. As you know, the state puts dollars out there through evidence-based funding. Whether you're tier 1 or 2 predominantly, you're getting the dollars. Tier 1 gets more. And they look at local available dollars, which are tax dollars locally that you're available. The surplus does not count towards any of that, so it will not negatively impact you for that. So I know that was a lot to go over in a short period of time, but I didn't know if you guys had any questions for me. I'm here to answer this.
I guess just in reviewing those numbers, so approximately 1 million in the first 10 years. So we're estimating roughly, so we're estimating roughly that we'd get about $100,000 a year for the first 10 years. So I guess just my back of the napkin math, with the size of our current budget, is that extra $100,000 a year, I guess, going to be put to better use in our coffers, or are we more giving the city keys and saying, here's the vehicle of TIF, but we're not gonna give you any gas to actually drive the car with? Because the $100,000 that could be going into the TIF every year, to me, could be utilized far more for those infrastructure redevelopments on 4th Street than I guess we're going to be able to apply it.
So I have a chart that indicates how much is available to the city to use for their projects also. And keep in mind, they're also getting a share of that surplus distribution. But the agreement also allows us through the Joint Review Board to vote to waive any surplus. So if they come forward with a great project and they say, hey, this is a really good project, we want you taxing bodies to consider waiving your surplus and putting it back in, we can agree to do so. Now, we can't hamstring anybody else to do that. So if the park district says no and we say yes and the county says yes, we can send our money back there for that purpose, but we can't require the other taxing bodies to do that. And the reason we can't require them is obviously we have 60% of the vote there and we'd be a veto for everybody. So that's the fairest way I can think of doing it. So that'll come back to the board if you want to do that on a case-by-case basis.
I don't know about you, Chris, but money to the district is always a great thing when it comes to the kids too, so it's also something to consider, so. Any other questions?
I do want to point out, and Gino did mention it, this is between the city of DeKalb, the school, but also the other taxing bodies. So we are on the October 25th, we are meeting with the other local taxing bodies regarding this. And if you want to.
It's a good point, I should express it. I drafted the agreement, so it's an intergovernmental agreement between whoever signs it. Meaning, I didn't want to get in a situation where out of the, I forget how many other parties were in the 2020 agreement, all the other members of the joint review board. If one or two don't want to sign it, that's okay, it's not going to stop our agreement. It's between whoever signs it and the city. So if we sign it, the city signs it, nobody else signs it, we still have an intergovernmental agreement. They're still going to issue the surplus. The surplus will still go to everybody proportionate, because by law, you can't favor one party over another. You can't have make-whole agreements. But the good result of this is we still have an agreement. Because otherwise, as you could imagine, running through multiple different public agencies and boards and schedules could take a while. So we want to try to streamline it. And the agreements are written in such a way, I think it's the last paragraph, basically, they have to the end of the year to sign it. They don't sign it, they're not part of the intergovernmental agreement. But again, they get the same benefits regardless of whether they're signed onto it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. What number here, headquarters? J, okay. JSPL degree program agreement, this is an information item brought to us by Ms. Teacher Samus.
Good evening. So the PEL degree program agreement is for our employees that are taking advantage of dollars that we've allocated from our teacher vacancy grant for us to grow our own. We have a number of staff members from our DFSA group that aspire to be teachers. So they are working on that through different educational programs. And with that, the district is investing in those individuals. This agreement, which has been reviewed by legal, is the agreement that we will share with each person in exchange for the funds that we are using towards their education. It's their commitment back to the district that once they earn their PEL, that they will stay with the district for at least a minimum of 3 years. So we're bringing it to you so that you see the agreement, hopefully approve the agreement, and then we'll present it to each individual.
How many do we have right now, people that are proud to or interested in this?
So last year we had 9.
9, awesome. I did not recall that number, it's 9. Also, what you will be learning, one of our educational partners is Grand Canyon University located in Phoenix, Arizona. They are a very good partner. They have a very strong program that works for our staff because they continue to work while they do their education program. So we are continuing to build that pipeline with them. So more information will be coming about our partnership with GCU.
That's awesome. All right, any questions about that? No? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then the last item, superintendent report.
Good evening. So this evening, I just wanted to give us a couple of updates on things that we've been working on due to some events that have occurred in the district over the last couple of months. I wanted to start off with number one, our learning walks. I sent out an email to all of our staff in the community around how well those went. I think that it really provided us here at the Ed Center a different perspective on what is happening at the schools and how they're delivering and working through some of their school improvement goals, their staff development goals, or the principal's goal. It was non-evaluative to any of the teachers. We just got a pixie into the classroom to see what was going on. And regardless if we saw a whole lesson, a piece of a lesson, the beginning of something, the end of something, if we walked into your classroom and we were able to gauge what we needed to gauge based on what was asked, and we were able to do that, we did that, we were able to do that in all of our classrooms. So I wanted to explain that piece, not that I needed to apologize if it caused any anxiety, but I did want to make sure that you know that we were able to see those items that we were looking for as we walked in. And as we were walking out, we were debriefing explicitly around the things that we did see. So I hope by now everyone has received feedback from your principal. If not, please go and ask for it. The next thing I want us to talk about is a few of us were at the LUDA conference, which is the conference that is held twice during the year. In the spring, it's in the fall, it's in person, and in the spring, it's online specifically. Billy and I were in a session where a specific program came up that I will call, Billy might call it something else, but I'm calling it a Step Up to Kinder, which is the week before school actually starts for the kindergartners, where they get a chance to come in to the building and get to meet the teacher, spend a couple of hours there. We're still working on it. I want to make sure that everybody is okay with us moving forward with it, obviously. So Billy will be facilitating those conversations and working. I'm just calling you out, making sure that we get it done, Billy. All right, so Billy's excited about that, you can tell. Next thing up, we are in the midst of completing our transportation handbook. District has never had one before. I believe that Kyle Gertis has the last piece of it. We're just waiting for his final okay. It'll come to me, and then we'll be able to get it approved and sent out to everyone else. Basically, it's how we handle transportation from us to home, home to us, school to parent, and all of those components, so that there's clarity and that we can be held accountable to what we said and we put on paper, so that there are no mistakes or errors, hopefully ever again. Of course, it is something that we're building out, hopefully, and I don't expect any gaps, but I know that the team has worked tirelessly on making sure that it gets done in a correct manner and in a very astute way, so that it represents what transportation is to the district. In addition to that, we've also updated some procedures with the bus company. You may see some changes now, some changes that may be occurring. I know Ben is excited about making sure they got Wi-Fi on those buses so that kids can scan their IDs, and we can make sure that we know who's on the bus, when they get on, when they get off, and all of those great things. Matt's doing a great job making sure that we have all of our cameras on all the buses, so that they're all working and that there's video footage if we need it, and a great communication with Brenda and the bus company, Tina, representative, on how that works. So I'm really seeing a very great turn on how things are getting done, and continue to see that happens. And then finally, I know Matt and Shauna worked on a review of the entry and dismissal procedures, and so some of those things are being tweaked, have been tweaked, are being tweaked, and will continue to be tweaked, so that they are in the best possible way for all of our children, including our high schoolers, and parking lots and all kinds of things. So eventually, everyone will have a great opportunity to be safe and arriving to school and going home at the end of the day. Other than that, we have our track team, Billy.
Cross country.
Cross country is going state?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hunley Middle School.
Thank you. Did everybody hear that? I hope you did, because we're really excited about that, right?
If you didn't, Hunley Middle School is going to state cross country.
All right.
Yes.
Congratulations. I would mess something up, so I just figured Billy would probably be best to say it, so thank you so much for that. And I think that's it for me. I'm gonna turn it back to my president so she can close us out.
All right, any last minute comments? No? Okay. All right, and it is now 8:28, and with that, we will adjourn it is recommended that the Board of Education will adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.